Now, after the field egg group, we should have the flying egg group, which is another easy one. Now, you can't say they're all birds, because we have Zubat, Golbat, Crobat, Aerodactyl, Togetic, let's see, Sigilif, and Noibat, Noivern. As you can see, they're not all exactly birds. Maybe you could say they all have feathers, but no, the ones that aren't birds don't have feathers. Noivern does not have feathers. I believe Aerodactyl does not have feathers, and Crobat's line does not have feathers. Obviously, then you'll say that they are all flying Pokemon. Now, do you mean flying types, or literally able to fly? Because I believe that... Let me see. I believe that I once found a Pokemon on this list that was not a flying type, but I may have been mistaken. Because that would have been something, you know, finding a non-flying type in the flying egg group. But it seems I was mistaken because, yeah, they're all flying types. At first glance. Oh wait, no! Decidueye is a grass and ghost type. It evolves from two flying types, but it is not a flying type itself, so there's your anomaly. Decidueye is a flying egg group and no other egg group, yet it's not a flying type. I knew I noticed someone. Despite that, not all the Pokemon on here can even fly. If you are smart enough to realize that Doduo and Dodrio are also on this list. But so here's some trivia you probably did not know. Doduo and Dodrio are flying type because they can fly, they just choose not to. How do they fly, you ask, if they don't have wings? Well, I don't remember who said this. It may have been one of the Pokemon creators at Game Freak. Maybe I dreamt it, but apparently Dodrio flies by rotating their legs like a helicopter. Their big legs. Their big chicken legs. Yeah, I didn't believe it that much either. They don't have wings, so yeah, they don't fly. They're like big ostriches with 3 heads. You can't fly by rotating your wings. That's ridiculous. Rotating your heads is even more ridiculous. But apparently that's what they said, and I'm going to, take that with a grain of salt. Regardless, their body type is still bird-like, and everything here, despite of their type or their ability to fly, has wings. So despite them being birds or bats or flying types or non-flying types, everything in the flying egg group has wings. And everything with wings can breed with each other, apparently. You know what I meant. So the flying egg group has wings. I guess that's as scientific as I can get. Next we have the grass egg group. And yes, they're not all grass types. We have Pokemon on the grass egg group that are not grass types, and if you give me a minute, we will find them. Oh yeah, I remember, it's the last one. Comfey. Comfey, which looks like a ring of flowers, is just a pure fairy type, but it is only in the grass egg group, meaning it can only breed with the grass egg group Pokemon. But everything else is a grass type as far as I can tell. Now, what do the grass egg group have in common? Well, they're not all grass types, as I just proved, because we have Comfey. The thing they all have in common is that they're all plant-like. They all resemble real-life plants, and by real-life I mean just, the plant creatures that are like, not animals, plants. Chlorophyll, green, growing, seeds, They all have plant attributes, which explains why they're mostly grass types. Even Comfey could be, mistaken for a grass type. I should make a video about something like on that nature. Anyway, that's an easy one. Grass egg group, plant-like. Next we have the very, very questionable human-like egg group. Another easy one. Everything in here is in some way humanoid. They all have 2 legs, 2 arms, except for Machamp, he has 4 arms. They all have a head. They all have a torso. Cacnea is the least humanoid-shaped one, because he's so short and round, but he technically has 2 legs, 2 arms, a head, not much of a torso. But he evolves into a very humanoid Pokemon, Cacturne, which is based off of a scarecrow, which is based off of a human meant to scare crows. So if Cacturne's a human-like, then Cacnea is human-like because it's just a mini scarecrow. Yeah, but everything else is very humanoid shaped. They all have 2 legs, 2 arms, etc. Some are short, some are tall, and some have accessories like wings and spikes and clothing and hair and items like spoons and hypnosis pendulums and extra arms, but they're all mostly human-like. You'll be surprised that Gardevoir's line, Gallade, Curlia, Ralts, Gardevoir, I'm mixing up my vowels, Gardevoir, is not in this egg group because they are later. In the next one, the Amorphous Egg Group. Now, the Amorphous Egg Group, as far as I can tell, are all just undefined shapes. The word amorphous means undefined shape, and none of these Pokemon have hard or solid bodies. They're all either soft, semi-viscous, liquidish, gaseous. They can expand or shrink because of their body shapes. Maybe they are ghost types, poison types. Wobbuffet is weird, but as far as I can tell, I guess his body is soft enough to change shape, even though you never see it do that. Maybe magma shaped, or maybe they're just soft and blobby. The anomalies, of course, are the Ralts, Curlia, Gardevoir, and Gallade line. They are found in the Amorphous Egg Group and nothing else. Yeah, some Pokemon are balloons and ghosts and spirits, but yeah, Ralts, Curlia, Gardevoir, and Gallade are anomalies. As far as I can tell, they should be in the human-like egg group because they are all humanoid. Very humanoid. Famous for being humanoid. The memes, wow. Anyway, but here they are in the Amorphous Egg Group. With the ghosts, and the blobs, and the cells, and the jellyfish, and the eagles, and the candles, and the more ghosts, and basically Amorphous has a lot of ghost and poison types. Now, how do I explain the few anomalies in this egg group? Well, Gallade, I had one little hint. Gallade has been known to extend its elbows into swords. Basically, the end of its elbow juts out like a sword at command, meaning its body is not defined because its elbow can shapeshift. Now, it's not shapeshifting like you would see for a Slugma or a Muck or a Grimer, because it's not liquid. But if his elbow can shapeshift, then that automatically means he's amorphous. And another thing, Gardevoir's part of its body that resembles a dress, which is not a dress because it's part of its body, but it looks like a clothing, is very flowing, so maybe that's amorphous. If these examples sound ridiculous to you, well, guess what? That's because they are. I do not know what these things are doing here. They can only breed with amorphous Pokemon. That makes no sense. No sense whatsoever. Like, what is this? They can only breed with ghosts and blobs. And balloons. And Wobbuffets. And Slugmas. And Gengars. Weird. Anyway, let's continue. Next we have the Mineral Egg Group, which is made up of lots of rock types, ground types, steel types, and a few normal types, and electric types. And Shedinja. And Snorunt and Glalie, and the Porygon line, and a few ghosts, a few poison types, more ice types. Basically, they're not all rock, ground, and steel types, which was my mistake, since I already studied this list a lot. Now, what does the Mineral Egg Group have in common? Scientifically speaking, they are kind of non-organic, which is a paradox because they're all alive, and by being alive, they are technically organic. Now, we will assume that organic means coming from living things. We will also assume that all Pokemon are alive, hence the paradox. But these Pokemon are unique in that they do not have flesh. They're made of rock and metal and whatever Voltorb and Electrode are made of. Let's say if they are theoretically artificial Pokemon, which I should make a video about that. I have a lot of ideas in my head. Man, I should write this stuff down. We'll just assume Voltorb and Electrode are non-organic because they kind of look artificial. Porygon is made of data, and its physical body is probably made of plastic, metal. I don't know. All these things are made of minerals. Shedinja's body is basically a shell, so it's very calcified or like hardened. So that's kind of mineral-like, non-organic. It's no longer alive, being a ghost type and all. That's why there's a lot of ghost types on here. Ice types on this list are made of ice a lot. So if their bodies are mostly ice, which is non-organic, if you did not know, because water is not alive. Just like stone and metal and dirt is not alive. So that's why there's so many Pokemon of this nature in the mineral egg group. Mostly Pokemon made of stone and metal, ice, and other non-organic stuff. Trubbish and Garbodor are made of garbage, which is non-organic. Yamask and Cofagrigus, I guess the parts of their bodies that are gold, like the coffin of Cofagrigus is made of gold, that's a mineral, it's non-organic. Dwebble and Crustle are bugs of the bug egg group, but their shells are made of stone, which I don't know why biologically that is part of their bodies, but it is. I can't change it. Of course, Vanillite's line is made of ice, and the rest of the Pokemon are either made of earth or metal. Obviously. Delmise was a little tricky, being a ghost and grass type. Its Pokedex entry specifically says that the seaweed is its actual body, which means the anchor is just a real anchor that it just, it's attached to. But if it's attached to the anchor, and all Delmise want to have an anchor, well, that just explains it. The seaweed has fused with the anchor, and though it's not a steel type, its ability technically gives it steel type of stab. But it's still a ghost and grass type, because it's seaweed, and it's dead? No, not dead. Non-organic. Hence the mineral egg group, which is mostly from the anchor, made of metal.